This is Us Against It. So listen, if you have been following us, then you already know that we've been talking about a journey of being your better healed self. You know, walking in your wholeness, walking in your authenticity. Mm-hmm. So that's what we've been just kind of talking about, our journeys there, and just, you know, basically just being yourself, being who you are. We talked about setting boundaries, right?
Yep. Self-awareness. We also talked about, and when she says being yourself and being unapologetic about it. Right. Not making excuses for who you are, not trying to make yourself small so others feel big, but finding your own voice and walking your own path to get to the life that you want. How am I living? How do I feel about it?
Exactly. Right. So we're on location. We're not in our usual spot. So if you hear different noises and sounds and so on and so forth, then we are in
we're in Prospect, Kentucky. We are Kentuckians for a day. We had the wonderful opportunity to attend a ballroom. And if you're familiar with the show, I think it was called Pose. Yeah. Pose. It was an experience very similar to that. It was an amazing time. Yes, Airrion and I have been friends for many, many years. And we're going to talk about that a little later. But we are visiting her and her family as they performed in the ballroom last night.
It's a beautiful experience.
It was. It was
creativity and just
fashion, love, the boldness of people just being free. The freedom, the liberation was mind blowing. Yes. Really, and we was cute.
We was cute.
We're gonna have some pictures to follow.
Yes.
So, but we brought Airrion here today because she has made a remarkable journey. Mm-hmm. And it is totally in line with what we've been covering over the previous 5 podcasts. Yeah. She is a walking example of life dealing her different circumstances and situations, and she's sitting 10 toes down and changing her life, changing the trajectory of her life, and walking into her unapologetic, authentic self. So we're going to talk to her a little bit, try to find out a little more about her, and we'll finish up and wrap up like we normally do. So, Miss Airrion, so outside of being the most gorgeous person in the world, she's fantastic, and brilliant, and wise beyond her years. So tell us about growing up in Chicago. What was that like? What was your family like?
So hood chick, right? right. You know, me and my brother and I, we lived with my mother for a while, and you know, we decided to move with my dad because it would have been a better experience. Mm-hmm. Dual income, you know, better schooling opportunities, and we just felt that would be the case. At that time, I think I'm like 9 and my brother is 8, and so we're not aware about what's about to happen. We just know that we need a different trajectory as far as what life can possibly look like versus what we've been experiencing prior to this. And being under my dad's roof is different, right? Where I have the love of my mother and my grandmother on one side, but then under my dad's roof it's very militant, very strict, very structured. So it was a different appeal, right? But it was something I needed. So I didn't really combat it a lot, right? I just continue to operate in it. There's an authority figure here now. It's my dad. So it's very that way. Right. But I don't really allow, I just move forward in that. As I grew older, I realized that I should be making different decisions, right? Okay. Something is going on with me personally that I need help. I really wish I could get the help. I know I need it, but I need help in understanding what's going on with me, right? So, being at my dad's house and I'm getting older, I was blessed to have our family church across the street from us. And so, it was my outlet because I knew that growing up, as a young boy, that I'm not the same, right? Like something's going on, right? And so church being an outlet where I get to be reminded that, you know, God is the joy in the center of my life. You know, He moves all things, misery and strife, right? He, you know, promised to keep me never, right? So there's this relationship that I've developed with God, just so happened to be at the church that I grew up in, while I look across the street at this house that I'm afraid to be in, because I can't, I'm allowed to be this sinner and be accepted, right? Without voicing it. But I'm not allowed to even explore the idea of what's happening in my life underneath my dad's house, because you're afraid of what that decision will be. And so as I grew older, I became more rebellious, because it wasn't about being gay anymore. It wasn't about being someone who is struggling with their identity. There was a real bitch inside me, right? Like, there was something happening there, and it was more than I can control.
Right.
It had gotten to the point where
it was bigger than you.
And I realized that at the age of, 17 or 18, right? I was getting ready to graduate, and I was going to Kenwood Academy at the time, and the school, Alcorn State University, came to audition students for full ride scholarships. And so I'm growing up, I'm saying to myself, you know what, if I can get this scholarship, I can begin making my decisions without being fearful of the audience that I'm currently in, right? Because I'm definitely afraid of the consequences. You know, I'm definitely afraid of, you know, even having a thoughtful discussion with my dad, because I knew that it was something he saw as well that he would never accept. And so I, you know, going back to like the whole, how do you make these, you know, what happens, I think my life changed because when the school of Alcorn State University came to audition us and I got the full ride, my dad did not support me in that, and told me that if I moved to Alcorn State, he wasn't going to support me. He wasn't going to finance me. He wasn't going to cover any of my fees. This is a full scholarship, right? Like, what really are you going to be responsible for, right? Aside from getting me there, making sure that I have like a little money until I get a job, whatever, anything that a parent would be expected to do and be proud to do. So, but because of his decision and my vocal ability, you know, I trained for this, you know, I trained for that opportunity and got it on the spot. Whereas still trying to sacrifice my life to please someone who didn't give a fuck about my life, excuse me, right? He didn't care. Right. And so, again, I'm operating in this space of obedience and people pleasing. And so my dad was like, well, you need to go to a school closer. And, you know, he was like, well, just audition for the School of Music at Northern. I went to Northern, I auditioned for the school, and I sung a deodorant commercial or Pepsi commercial, and they gave me a 2.5-year scholarship.
That was a wonderful thing.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Wonderful thing.
But it was in that moment, in that decision that I made to further pleasing an individual who was intentionally causing me to be fearful of being myself, is what birthed a version of Airrion that was too edgy and too rebellious and too angry to tame.
Right. So, because you came out fighting.
I came out fighting.
So because now you've unearthed in me this fighter.
Yes.
Because now I feel like I'm fighting for my life.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I definitely understand that. And a lot of times our parents do shape us, and this is not parent bashing, but we come from spaces that they love us with the only capacity they don't have. And until we're adults, we're not able to look back and say, that's all they could do. They didn't know anything else. They didn't know how. He didn't know how to be the father of a trans. You know, he had no idea. So he's fighting for his son. He thinks, right?
Right.
He thinks, but your life is not his, it's yours.
Not.
And I think sometimes parents disassociate themselves and say, I'm going to put this in my child because I didn't get it. Mm-hmm. But you have to understand what your child wants, because that's their life.
Understand that, that they also, have a voice, and I think we had talked about that. It's like, when you're younger, it's like you don't have a voice.
Right.
You're speaking, you're saying, what this is, what that is, but because they think, this is, you're a child or you're too young or whatever, you're just not heard.
Right.
But, coming to a place where you realize that you do have a voice, and then you stand upon that. And then when that happens, there's a sense of freedom that comes there. Yeah. But people can't accept your freedom because you're taking a step that they don't like or they don't understand, because they have already put you in a place or a box that they want you in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it's like, but I'm stepping out of that box, but this is freedom. Mm-hmm. This is who I am. This is, this is where I can fly. This is where I can be me. This is where everything, is right.
Right.
So it's that journey of getting to that place.
It is.
So it's not just overcoming whatever you might be feeling within yourself or about yourself, but then having to overcome what others think of who you are or who they expect you to be.
That's true.
I agree. I think that, having to make those decisions and then seeing what those decisions produce, as you grow, I think that it forces you, if you want for the better, it forces you to do better.
Right.
And I think that it was in those moments where I realized that I wanted better for myself, right? By going back to school and getting my degrees and things of that nature. The journey of people pleasing kind of slowed down.
It did,
right?
It should.
Exactly.
Should.
Yeah.
In that same journey, though, there was still an avenue of parental people pleasing, right? Yeah. When it came to both, not just my dad, but my mom as well, right? Because my mom is dealing with her issues, and you're thinking that your growth would be her satisfaction, and it would help her to do better.
Yeah.
Or with my dad, my growth experience would be a visual appreciation that regardless of what he sees on the outside, like
I still did the things.
Exactly.
I still did the things, and I deserved your acceptance because I did the things, Dad. Yeah. And Mom, I did the things, so you should want to be better, healthier, so you can be present in my life. But that's never your responsibility. And I think that's what traps us up. Because we're still waiting on that. Because who doesn't want this complete acceptance from their parents? Who doesn't want it from their parents? Nobody else on the planet. You want it from your parents.
Right.
You do. You want your parents to be proud of who you are. And I think but being okay if they're not.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. At what expense,
Yeah, but so that's that self-awareness journey that takes you into the space where what matters in my life is what I create.
Yes.
What I create. And if I create strife, then that's the life of it. But if I come from a place of peace, the good of all, harm of none, right?
Yeah.
Then I can expect this to surround me and be okay with the people who can't handle my growth, my decisions, and because I'm not accountable to them.
Yeah, that's that slowdown of that people pleasing journey.
Right, recognizing who that us is.
Yeah,
right.
Because that us, don't have to be the people who blood the same.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
I see love from my extended family, right? I see love from a guy I may work with who has been in his role for years, right? Yeah. Who treats me like a daughter, right? Yeah. Who looks, he doesn't know if he knows or not. It's not about my sexual origin, right? It's about the character that he sees. Absolutely. And I believe that people has to be able to see that the character you're operating in is built of greatness. There's greatness in this character.
Absolutely.
And I've never expected that my character would be of interest where you guys would want to, talk about it. But what that does is it makes me feel good because my journey of people pleasing, since it doesn't exist anymore, it's now funny to see there be an interest in someone who's not operating in pleasing people.
Right, absolutely. So, because it's most important for me, and you're most impactful when you're authentic. You know what I mean? You are most impactful when people see the real. People would always say, "You're so real." I don't know nothing else to be. I don't know anything else to be. And I think that when people see that, they can see themselves in you. People would say, I can see myself, and or see somebody who looks like me in a space that I never thought I could get.
Well, they see the confidence in that person, how that person know who they are and what they're walking with and what they're carrying. And so when that person walks into a room, there's no doubt, you can't shake this person, as far as who they are or what they believe about.
For sure.
For sure. It's that confidence.
It's her. She's in the room. It's her.
Great.
Warning.
It's it takes that process to get there and to walk in that. And I believe that when you walk in your authentic self, first of all, you're not caring what people think. Then you're walking into a room with confidence, where it's very evident, where people have to look at you and they see that.
Right.
They see that and they can't help but respect that.
Right, absolutely.
So, that no announcements have to be made. Here comes such and such.
Right.
Because, when she walks into the room, then there it is.
She's here.
Right.
And I think that it's also important for people to recognize there's a very big difference between confidence and arrogance.
Yeah.
I think, because confidence is backed by humility. I know who I am, but I'm no better than you.
Exactly.
But I know who I am, and nothing you can say or do can change who I am.
Yeah. Right.
But arrogance is, I know who I think I am, and I think I'm better than you. Well, in all you're getting, get some understanding.
You better get it.
You better get some understanding.
Because
confidence means that I've been through the fire.
Right.
And I'm out, and I know who this woman is.
Exactly.
Arrogance is, I got on better clothes than you. Okay. Okay.
Right. Or I earned this without having to go through a process.
Yes.
So definitely.
But you know what? That fire burns.
It does.
Right?
It does.
And so when you see yourself, when you see the scars from those burns, you say, "Bitch, I overcame that."
You did.
Right?
You did.
And
That's
so
right.
now the pavement of the area, the surface of the skin is much smoother. Yes,
okay.
Right.
All right, that one.
You've healed from it, and you say, "Wow, I'm healthy enough to be healed from something that has scorned me."
And what that healing does is open up the universe to keep giving you. Once you've healed from that space and you feel like you can operate now in this authentic space, and I no longer have those demons chasing me, then the blessings of God seem to overtake you. They really do.
And I welcome you. I welcome.
You're welcome here.
So, yes, this has, again, been a good episode.
It really has.
Again, with our first guest here. Talking about just the journey to healing, to wholeness, and just walking in your authentic self.
I just want to also say that the journey of healing is still beautiful because it comes with an opportunity of self-correcting, right? I think every day we wake up, we have that opportunity to not forget that this is our journey of correction, right? This is our journey of better. This is our journey of being more conscious of
how we move
exactly. And as I get older, I realize that it's time involved.
You're getting older.
Well, I'll be 45.
The lies they tell.
But I I'm appreciating the time that I'm appreciating the reminder that this is my time, right? Where, you know, I manage it better. You know, I manage how I advance the rest of this move, right? Because I know that this is my time. This is my energy. This belongs to me.
That makes a lot of sense, because when you're managing that time, you're deciding what I'm going to be involved in. Exactly. What am I going to spend my time in, and what am I not? You know what I mean? Because time is valuable.
That can be dramatic.
Any time that I'm giving to you, I'm taking away from me. Right? So making sure my us is people I want to spend my time. Time is the most important currency we will ever have. Ever. You can't earn it. You can't be paid back for it. That's right. You can't buy it. So that's all we got. So when you decide who you gonna spend that time with, choose wisely. Choose wisely. Because I also know that you are the sum of the 5 people you're most close to in your life. Think about the 5 people in your life, and you are the sum of that. We are born to pour, and that's what's been poured in you. So make sure that circle of 5 is some bad bitches. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But this has been really nice. So my final question for you is, what's next for you?
Honestly, I have been holding myself back with just like advancing what I like to call adulting. So I think for me, it's trusting that it's okay to live a little bit better than how I've been living. And that can be like my residential experience, right? Where I look at this beautiful setting and I'm not expecting God to bless me with a mansion right away. Why not? But in the back of my mind, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, bitch, why not me? Right. So when I pulled up in this driveway, that was the first thing I said was, why not me? And so I am moving forward in that question because I do believe that I am deserving of having that answer and making sure that I be the one to answer it because I am equipped enough.
Right. He's prepared you for this point in your life.
Yes. And it's not, and I'm okay. I don't know, honestly. Next is I'm not apologizing anymore. Because I don't owe anyone anything.
You don't.
My people pleasing journey ended when I said yes to life. And said yes to happiness and said yes to the removal of blinders and toxic relationships.
That is beautiful. I'm so glad you joined us today. And you have already given me the idea for our very next topic, so remind me. So join us again next week for another episode of Us Against It. I'm Felicia Powell.
And I'm Yovonka Lee.
And thank you to the beautiful Airrion Harvey.
Thank you.
Spectacular. Get you one of these. Let's check this out.
I'm working.